Well, good morning everyone, and welcome to today's video. I got a lot to talk to you in this video. What if I told you one of the best things that happened to me just since January was losing over 76% of my income? Some of you skeptics would say, clickbait, you didn't lose that much income. Some of you would say, oh, you want pity. Some of you would say, you're lying for a video. And some of you who know me really well would say, wait a minute, Tessie, I want to hear what you got to say because this sounds really interesting. We've had days and days and days of rain. And I'm hearing that most all of you are. So I'm trying to clean up a little bit. But I learned the most valuable lesson that anyone could learn. And that is, when times get tough, put a smile on your face, change your thought process, and watch your life turn around. A lot of my videos lately talk around finances, they talk around living life abundantly on little. But what I haven't really shared with you is exactly what happened to me and this story. Now we are debt-free and we continue to be debt-free, and thank the Lord we are, because we can absorb a lot of shock in our lives because we don't have debt. If you watch any kind of YouTube, you will see lots of channels talking about having no revenue and channels quitting by the hundreds. Every day I click on YouTube and I see another big channel that's saying goodbye. Well, it's so interesting to me because I want to tell you my story and how I went from the stress in the end of December to beginning of January, going to the doctor, to now where I am actually thankful. Yes, I'm thankful I lost 76% of my income, my revenue, because it taught me a valuable thing.
But some days are good.
Just going to share with you a little bit of my background. So I was always taught prosperity teaching, and prosperity teaching is pretty much basis on that God will have favor on you and you will prosper. And a lot of times people think that means monetary wise and prosper in material things. So that was what I grew up with, that type of teaching. And so back in the end of December into January, when things got really started getting tougher as far as financially, my first thought was, I panicked. What am I gonna do? How am I gonna do this? What's gonna happen? And all these things. The second thing that happened was I became discouraged. And I became not depressed, but I became very discouraged. And like, oh, I do all this, you know, all of the different thoughts. And then all of a sudden, something started changing in me. And we are doing so much different than we've ever done before. Replenish our savings. And so with losing 76% of my income, that was ad revenue, was the majority of it, and plus other things, I really started thinking about what is important in life. And so instead of trying to do this and trying to do that and trying to force things to happen and trying to be in control of everything, I let all the control out. I don't control anything anymore. I don't try to work harder. I don't try to work smarter. I don't try to do this. And I don't try so much. And so I just am so free. It is something that has really blessed me because it made me see beyond my little four walls. It made me open up my eyes, like open up my eyes and see what really matters in life. And what really matters in life is you have food on the table, you have a roof over your head, you have all of your basic needs met. Everything else is just dessert. Now, I don't know about you, but when I sit down, I don't just eat dessert. I eat my meal, and if I have something special, there's a little dessert there at the end. But we don't eat dessert every meal. We don't skip meals and just have dessert. I wanted a dessert every meal with my life. I wanted my life, and then I wanted the extras. And then I kept saying to myself, well, why am I not blessed in material things? That was way back at the end of last year. Because I was always taught, if you do the right thing and you do everything according to how you're supposed to, you will be blessed beyond measures in the material world. And it is just amazing to me how I had it all wrong. I was taught all wrong. Now, of course, good things happen to people that do good things. But I have been blessed beyond measure. I have been blessed in physical health. I have been blessed in so many things. There are some people in this life that are called to be rich. I'll use that word. I don't know any other word. There are some people that are called to be that way. But there are majority of people that are called to be not poor. I don't want to say the word poor because some people don't like that, but they are called to be average, or called to be not prosperous in material things. And their calling is just as high as other people's callings. We are all called to be different. And so I prepare my life in a way now that, on the level now that I have never prepared before. All my life on YouTube, I talked about preparing for things. But now it is a challenge that I take on with both feet planted firmly on the ground. And I have it as a challenge that I'm, in the flesh, not happy about. Like in the flesh, in the flesh we want everything to be easy. But it's a spiritual challenge that I'm ready to take on. And I don't have no stress. In the beginning, I had a little bit of the stress because in the beginning, I saw my life as being harder and, having to do things harder. I didn't want to do things harder because saving money isn't always easy. Saving money means physical more work. Sometimes it means you have to do more certain things. And I just got to the point where I know now, without a shadow of a doubt, what my calling and reason for life is. And that is to share happiness and abundance on nothing or little. And there's always somebody that is worse than you are. There's always somebody who has more troubles than you do. And there's always somebody who sees your life as perfect. I know it's hard to believe, but there is. Coming from the background that I came from, I'm going to be straight out honest with you because maybe then you'll understand me a little bit. My mobile home, my home looks dirt poor. Coming from my background. Coming from my background, I look dirt poor. So when I would say about poor living and poor this, people didn't understand me because the average majority of people would say, you're clickbaiting, you're not poor, you got a beautiful place. But you must understand, coming from my background, it doesn't look like a beautiful place to some people. I know, it's hard to understand. You see, there are so many different groups of people. And when I first started my YouTube channel, to me, I looked and felt dirt poor because that is what I would appear to be in the circle of people that I grew up with and my family background. But what I didn't realize was I had so much. I had a lot in life. There were people that lived in in motels watching my channel. There were people that were kicked out of their homes watching my channel. And all of a sudden my eyes were open to that, oh wow, what I was taught in my mind was wrong. It was wrong. And maybe now you can understand, some of you can understand it, that I was taught such a disservice in my life because I was taught that life was based on material things and success was material things. And it's not. It just is not. I was taught in a way that as long as you looked on the outside, that you had it all. No matter if your marriage was miserable, no matter if you had troubles. But if you were on the outside, looked like you had it all, that's all that mattered. That's what I was taught. Some of it was taught psychologically, and some of it was verbally taught that way. And so God has taken me on to this whole new journey. And I live way below the poverty level. And that's not clickbait. That's my life. And all of a sudden I see myself as the richest person in the world. And when I share these videos, it is not to share with you doomsday, gloom, depressive, embarrassing. Those words are not in my vocabulary. It's to share with you joy, contentment, happiness, that money does not provide you with happiness. It can make your life easier. Absolutely it can. But I am noticing now, I had two choices. I can become bitter or I can become better. Bitter would have been what I was taught. Better is what the Lord is sharing with me. Bitter is what I've been taught. The Lord is what's sharing with me that I'm better. And so we aren't spending money. And while the focus can seem like it's money, it's not the focus on money. It is to share with people in my titles so they can understand and come to my channel. There may be people that were like me, went down to middle income and find themselves in lower income. You see, one thing that you all have a benefit of that have always been lower income your whole life is you pretty much seen the whole picture. You pretty much know that it's not based on riches. It's not based on what you have. You pretty much know how to make do with what you have. But there is a whole group of people that climbed the corporate ladder, that climbed the ladder of success in the world's eyes, that all of a sudden are going from riches to rags. See, everybody loves the story rags to riches. But the biggest and better story is the opposite way around. Going from riches to rags when it comes to my story, because I realize now what true riches mean. And true riches mean to me everyday life, spending with my loved ones, and counting it all joy of what I do have. Not what I wish I had, not what I could have had, not what I should have had, but what I have now. I know I am speaking to someone out there. I know that I am not alone. And I want you to realize that it's not embarrassing to say you live below the poverty line. Because the poverty line is just a man-made term for what the world sees as success. But we don't live by the world. We don't live by the world. And so our poverty line to the world is that, but we could say we live above the rich line because of the lessons that we have learned. And so while we pare away everything that we spend, we pare it down. We don't do it in a way of, oh, woe is me. And I could have been that way. I could have been that way for years on my YouTube channel. Maybe not in a purposeful way, but I could have come off like that. I probably could have. And because it's just I was so brainwashed into thinking a certain way as a child and growing up that way, that to be separated from the world doesn't mean, I wish you knew exactly how I was raised. And so it's such a different philosophy of life. I walk this narrow path, and my narrow path is to reach the people who want to see that life can still be a blessing, even if the world sees you as not being prosperous. I'm the most prosperous woman in the whole wide world because I have everything I need. Not everything I want, but at this moment in my life, I have my husband, I have my good health, I have food, I have a roof, I have a home, I'm able to work outside, I'm able to enjoy peace and quiet. I have everything. And when we go inside our home and we close the door and we have our four walls, we have happiness. There's nothing fake. What you see on the outside is what's on the inside. How many people have it all on the outside, but when they close those doors, they have nothing on the inside but turmoil, conflict, fighting, money issues. It's a lot of people. And so losing this income at first I thought was the biggest curse of my life. I thought, well, nobody likes me. I'm done. Nobody cares. God don't care. Until I realized God cared even more, because he is allowing me to go through this to teach me a valuable lesson. And I hope that I blessed you in some way. And I hope that I can encourage you in some way. YouTube and social media platform can look a certain way. It can look like a dream world for people. And I assume that's why a lot of people watch it. I think YouTube, it looks like everybody has it all together. Cinematic videos. And what I want to teach is the hard knocks in life that cannot stay hard knocks. In other words, what you think is a hard knock in life, can you have the challenge to turn that into a life lesson and a blessing in that? I can tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, by losing 76% of my ad revenue on YouTube and also not making income, has really opened up the doors of my life in ways where I can actually sit back and say, wow, it's not what I don't have, it's what I have. And I'm thankful for the years that things were better, because I was able to do so much. And it's like now that door is closing in my life. And it was open and long enough that I could do the things that needed to be done. If those doors open again, it would be a valuable lesson in my life. It will be a valuable lesson in my life to take one day at a time. But I know the world that we live in is not an easy one. And I don't see it getting any easier. I know everybody says that, and it may, and I have hope it does. I want it to be easier. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And while it may be easier for some people, there's always going to be people that have it hard, hardships. And I think now's the time that we come together and we enjoy each other's lives and we spend time getting to know each other and enjoying the little things in life. and taking one day at a time. If I spoke to you in any way, if you understood what I was saying, let me know in the comments below. I could end this video by saying, could you please like, subscribe? Could you please share this? But you know, all of those things are good in themselves. But I don't want a gimmick. I just want to share my life with all of you. And if you find something worth in me that you like to listen to, you will come back again. And you will enjoy my videos. So I'm slowly trying to get away from all of that advertisements. You know, please do this, please, please, please. Because in the lesson I am learning is, I don't control anything, no matter how much I want to. I am just a vessel, and I am just a person that is relying on the Lord in more ways than I ever thought I would. But they're good ways, and that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to rely on the Lord with everything. And that's one thing that low income, poor living has taught me, to rely on Him even more.